Hello everyone, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom, where we dive into the hidden forces that keep our bodies healthy, or at least try to. I'm Ethan Foster, here to examine the human condition with my usual stoic flair.
And I'm Alara Sky, your partner in comedic investigative health journalism.
Today's topic, sleep. Or, more specifically, why some of the sleep medications out there might be less helpful than an alarm clock that never goes off. We'll be looking at how these pills can impair something called the glymphatic system, which, believe it or not, has nothing to do with my questionable comedic timing.
I'm pretty sure your comedic timing is in a separate system entirely. But yes, the glymphatic system is your brain's personal housekeeping service. It cleans up the brain's daily mess when you're snoozing away. Think of it as those tiny nighttime custodians vacuuming up leftover mental crumbs.
That's a lovely thought. The magic of mini custodians in my head, wearing microscopic uniforms, cleaning up all the clutter. Or maybe it's more like a midnight pool party with waves of cerebrospinal fluid washing through. Either way, we want that system functioning at its best.
Right. The cool part is that this glymphatic system primarily kicks into high gear during deep sleep, especially non-REM sleep. It's like the prime shift for your brain's cleaning crew. But sleeping pills? According to some new research, they can shut down that shift so thoroughly, it's like the boss said, "Nobody's showing up tonight. Lights off."
So you end up unconscious, sure, but your brain's cleaning staff remains clocked out. That leaves junk behind, toxins, proteins like beta amyloid and tau, and maybe some regrets about your questionable beverage choices. Over time, that can lead to issues such as dementia.
If you've ever wondered why you feel extra groggy after taking certain sleep meds, it could be the mental version of trying to watch TV in a room that never got tidied. You're stumbling over mental clutter, and your metaphorical coffee table is buried under old snack plates.
That's a lovely image for everyone just waking up. But let's dig into the specifics. The glymphatic system relies on the rise and fall of norepinephrine during deep sleep. This wave action helps pump out waste. Some sleeping pills, especially ones like Zolpidem, can flatten that wave, meaning no pumping, and you're left with a stagnant puddle of toxins.
Think of it like a water park whose pumps suddenly break. The water just sits there, questionable floaties and all. In that scenario, you don't want to be the person swimming around.
Precisely. The folks who rely on these pills night after night might be signing up for more than they bargained for. Longer-term risks of memory issues, confusion, even a heightened risk of dementia. I always suspected something was fishy about artificially induced sleep. Now, I have the science to back it up.
That same science also notes that sleeping pills might put you at risk for all sorts of accidents. You get the next day drowsiness, slower reaction times, the potential for falls, particularly for older individuals. That's on top of the increased risk of car accidents or workplace injuries.
So if the glymphatic system fails, toxins build. And the brain can't repair properly. It's like never emptying your email inbox. Eventually, you can't find anything, can't stay organized, and your digital world collapses under spam.
Which is precisely how you end up typing nonsense in the search bar. In the brain, that translates to cognitive decline.
Let's look at the bigger sleep picture. There are a lot of folks, 50 to 70 million Americans, who can't get quality sleep, and roughly 8.4% of adults use sleep meds frequently. Among seniors, that rate jumps to almost 12%, so it's not a small group.
True, and many think these drugs produce real sleep. In reality, they're more like sedation. Natural sleep cycles through different stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM, repeat, giving your brain a chance to do everything from emotional processing to clearing toxins. A sleeping pill essentially plunks you in a partial unconscious state without the full cycle.
That's an important distinction. You might pass out, but your brain doesn't get the open bar of restorative processes. Instead, it's like being stuck at the coat check with a single lonely attendant who can't process anything.
And that single lonely attendant is half asleep too. Studies show even short-term usage can be risky, but long-term usage is linked to a host of issues, including a higher likelihood of dementia. White participants in one study were found to have a 79% higher chance of developing dementia if they used these medications frequently.
That figure is hard to ignore. Then there's the risk of dependence. Drugs like Sonata can lead to tolerance, so you need bigger and bigger doses just to achieve the same sedation. That sets you on a slippery slope of addiction and withdrawal.
Withdrawal being the delightful state of your body tossing insomnia and anxiety at you the minute you try to quit. It's basically your body saying, "Where's my sedation? Where's my artificially induced pass-out session?"
Indeed. The brain chemistry gets so used to that artificial help that natural sleep becomes elusive. It's an endless loop. Throw in the possibility of nightmares, weird behaviors like sleepwalking, and you start to feel like you're in a second-rate horror film.
Except no popcorn. Let's emphasize another crucial point. Short-term benefits are pretty meager. Some research claims these medications might help you fall asleep 6 minutes faster than a placebo and help you stay asleep a whopping 16 minutes longer. That's not exactly 8 hours of bliss.
It's basically the time it takes to read a short article online. Meanwhile, side effects might include everything from next-day drowsiness to suicidal thoughts, depending on the drug. Doesn't sound like a great trade.
Another interesting tidbit. Because some of these pills cause anterograde amnesia, users often forget they struggled to fall asleep in the first place. So they assume they slept like a baby for hours, when in reality they just forgot about the tossing and turning.
That's the same mental trick as forgetting you devoured an entire bag of chips because you were binge-watching a show. If you can't remember it, it didn't happen, right?
If only. This is why it's important to address the real reasons behind sleep troubles. Often it's a jumble of factors: stress, too much caffeine, bad lighting at night, and an erratic sleep schedule. Fix those, and you might find you sleep well without doping yourself into oblivion.
Let's talk about a consistent sleep schedule. Our brains love patterns. If you go to bed at 10 p.m., some nights, 1 a.m. on others, your circadian rhythm is basically a toddler trying to figure out bedtime.
If you're consistent, your internal clock says, "Oh, we sleep around 10? Great." Eventually, you find it easier to drift off. Aim for the same time every night, weekends included.
Yeah, that dreaded concept of not binge-watching your entire streaming queue until 2 a.m. on Friday because you can sleep in on Saturday. Turns out, your body's not so keen on the social jet lag.
Next biggie, the sleep environment. You need a dark, quiet room with no disruptive lights or sounds. If you're reading your phone in bed, your brain's picking up that blue light and thinks it's daytime. That's not great for melatonin production.
Also, if your mattress is older than your child, maybe consider an upgrade. A supportive mattress can make all the difference, especially if you're tossing and turning like a restless walrus.
That's quite an image, though I'd give good money to see that. Now let's shine some light on the fact that you actually need sunlight exposure during the day to keep your circadian rhythm in line. We're basically solar-powered, in a sense.
I can confirm, I feel more awake after some time in the sun. In the morning, it's a signal that wakes your body. Also, midday sunlight helps keep your vitamin D up. But avoid the insane quantity of seed oils that might make your skin more prone to burning. That's a separate issue, but important if you plan to soak up the rays.
Right. There's evidence that diets high in linoleic acid can make you more sun-sensitive. So if you're chowing down on certain processed foods, you might want to scale back. That way, you can safely enjoy sun exposure and still get that daily circadian reset.
Then there's stress. Chronic stress is a leading cause of lying awake, replaying your day like a broken record. Relaxation techniques help, things like breathing exercises, journaling, maybe a bit of meditation or gentle yoga before bed.
Don't forget the emotional freedom techniques, or EFT, as a neat way to reduce that psychological tension. Tapping certain meridian points can calm the body's stress response, letting you drift off without your mind waltzing around the dance floor of anxiety.
But the big message is, sleeping pills are a band-aid solution that can ironically hamper the very reason we need sleep, our brain's housekeeping service. If we keep popping these pills, we might be setting ourselves up for long-term damage.
And that's a high price to pay for an extra few minutes of sedation. Especially since real deep sleep cleans up all that pesky tau and beta amyloid that can lead to serious brain issues over time.
So, let's do a quick recap. We've got up to 70 million Americans struggling with sleep. Nearly 1 in 10 adults uses sleeping pills. Sleep aids cause sedation, but don't provide the full restorative cycle. Meanwhile, the glymphatic system, crucial for brain detox, gets suppressed by these drugs, meaning the toxins stay put.
And if that's not enough, these meds increase the risk of falls, drowsy driving, and general next-day zombification. They can also bring on dependency issues. Not exactly a dream scenario.
Precisely. It's like investing in a vacuum cleaner that never actually picks up dirt. You think your floor is clean, but you're just pushing the crumbs around. Eventually, you look around and realize you're wading through a mess.
The better approach, figure out why your sleep is off in the first place. Is it your schedule, your environment, your stress, your routine? Fix that. Get some sun in the morning, power down your screens at night, maybe throw in some relaxation exercises. Suddenly, your brain's cleaning crew gets the green light to do its job.
And that leads to a healthier, sharper mind over time. It also lowers your risk of the dreaded future scenario, where you can't recognize your loved ones or recall simple facts because of dementia.
Plus, you'll likely feel more refreshed. That's the golden ticket. Waking up with actual energy, not the half-baked grogginess that certain meds give you.
Since we're nearing the end, let's offer a few final thoughts. First, if you rely on sleeping pills, it might be time to question whether you can address underlying sleep hygiene factors. Maybe consult a knowledgeable practitioner about tapering off safely if you're a long-term user.
And second, the glymphatic system is the star of the show. You want to treat it well. Let it do its job by giving your brain the natural rest it deserves, or it might just file a formal complaint and go on strike.
We do not need a brain on strike, especially when it's busy enough trying to filter out cat videos and questionable social media posts all day.
Amen. And on that note, folks, thanks for joining us on Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Remember, real sleep is a superpower you can tap into every night. Don't trade it for a half-hearted sedation that robs you of your mind's nightly housekeeping routine.
Thank you for lending us your ears, your time, and maybe your leftover yawns. We hope you've learned something that helps you or someone you know reclaim restful slumber.
So until next time, invest in your deep sleep. Catch you next time, folks.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.